The Catskill Park is this fairly pristine, magical place.
It's a place of tranquil beauty.
The beauty of the Catskills has inspired writers and painters for so long.
So you have a wilderness that essentially has remained intact, only 2 hours from the most important city in the United States, and it's an important feat for our country.
2 hours from New York City, and we offer such a pristine area. This is amazing. We have such a treasure here.
Just south of New Paltz, there's a view of the Catskills when you're coming up, and in bad weather it looks like Mordor, but in beautiful weather it's like Oz.
It has this like quiet beauty. You see somebody who's just like stunningly beautiful, that's like the Rockies, you know, takes your breath away. But here in the Catskills, it's like somebody who's just pretty and their face is constantly changing. You never get tired of looking at them, and you just kind of want to hang out and be with them all the time, and that's the Catskill Park.
The Catskill Park is a preserve. It's a wilderness preserve. And wilderness is a very important element of the earth that's fast disappearing. And every time a part of it disappears, it won't be back for centuries, generations and generations.
The Catskill Park is unique because it's set up with the goal of keeping the land forever wild.
It's called America's first wilderness because in some ways it was where the idea of wilderness really was invented. And we had the idea of a park. People understood what a park was about. But the idea where you could have land that was untrammeled by man, where people could hike, they could hunt, they could fish, but we would not leave a mark on the land. And that concept originated here.
The rivers were left alone, the fish were able to multiply, and the principles established in the Catskills have remained as a working model for lots of other areas.
What's really special about this place is that it's protected, and there's open space, it's wild, it's gorgeous, and there's this pastoral, bucolic appeal.
It's not an accident that the Hudson River School got started in the Catskills.
It's a very romantic place, and the Hudson River painters painted it, and they established the reputation of the Catskills as being a mysterious place with waterfalls and deep and dark woods.
The Hudson River School of Artists was one of the things that basically put the Catskills on the map as a tourism area. Artists came here inspired by the beauty of the scenery and created a whole new school of artistic work. It stimulated people to come look at what was being portrayed in that art.
There has always been an arts presence in the Hudson Valley. This has always been a source of inspiration and restoration and relaxation for the artistic community of all sorts.
It's pretty breathtaking here, and when you get up high enough, you get over at the ledges or get to the top of a waterfall and see an eagle fly past, you think, really? Seriously? I live here?
Most of the people in New York City are not going to be able to fly out to the Rockies or see Yosemite or Yellowstone or the Everglades, but they can almost all see the Catskills.
We have unique natural resource opportunities for people to come and enjoy and play, and we're so close to the metropolitan area that I think this is one of the biggest undiscovered secrets in New York State.
We live off visitors who come here to recreate. That's the single most important economic force right now in much of the Catskills.
I think going down the river in an inner tube is pretty much you have to do that every summer, and the summer has not really been had.
We have 35 mountains in the Catskills, over 3,500 feet. We have 4 ski areas in the Catskills. Each one of them will draw in the vicinity of 150,000 visitors per year.
The Catskills was the place where the American history of fly fishing really started. I never really tried to analyze until later in life why I loved fly fishing, but it's one of those activities where you can really connect with nature.
I love to fish. It's the birthplace of fly fishing. And fly fishing for me is one of the activities that I prize probably more than anything.
We can trace it back to an article about a 6-pound trout being taken out of White Lake. And at the time, that was the largest trout ever caught in the world. And soon fishermen were coming from all over to try their skill. And those were our first tourists. This was a tourism industry that was based entirely on the concept of fresh air, clean water, and natural beauty. It did what it has done for so many people for so many generations, which is that it restored them.
If we stay unique, then people will still visit us.
I've hiked the mountains around here. I've been able to pet a deer and go to sleep with the wood frogs, and I just feel like it's amazing to live in the Catskills.
There's something about the place itself that fosters a connection between people and a connection with nature and an ability to kind of leave the cares of the world behind and get down to what's real.
If you drive out, you'll see miles and miles of farms. Old-fashioned farms, some of them small.
Well, the total acreage of the farm is 20 acres. We focus on vegetable and flowers. The growing area is less than an acre, but we do very intensive production.
We can grow really great cold weather things here that are extra flavorful, extra sweet, sweeter carrots and sweeter kale. I think the key is to specialize in crops that grow very well here and make a market for those.
I love all aspects of farming, everything about it. The smells of it, the growing, the greenhouse, digging in the soil, all of those things are great.
We have to keep this able to be the food shed. I mean, this was historically a food belt, a farm belt, and we need to be able to bring that back to the degree that it's been lost and to sustain it where it's at. And we need to keep our, water pure and able to feed all of these possibilities.
One of the things that I think we should admire about the Catskills Park, it's a model for how you want to invest in infrastructure. And our forebears in the city of New York saw more than 100 years ago that they needed to have a clean, reliable source of water.
New York State had the foresight to be able to put aside the Catskill Mountains and to build the aqueducts and to build the infrastructure so that to create waterways that would keep New York City alive for centuries.
New York City, to its credit, in recent years has bought more land to protect the watershed. And so New York City is one of the few cities in the world that has a completely renewable supply of water. It doesn't depend on an aquifer which is being depleted. It depends on catching rainwater, holding it in the reservoirs, and we get arguably some of the best water in the world we can drink directly out of the tap. Very few cities in the world can say that.
This region is so blessed with its freshwater resources, all of New York is, but this region in particular, we just have so many streams and rivers, and of course the big watershed that provides unfiltered water to New York City, which is considered some of the highest quality water in the country, really.
The word kill means creek in Dutch. The Catskills were named because of their waterways. There's almost no place that you can walk 100 feet in any direction in the Catskills without running into a creek of some kind.
We produce water for New York City at the rate of about 1 billion gallons a day. This is an environmental success story. At a time when the US EPA released a study recently that 50% of the water bodies in the United States are rated as having poor water quality. The water quality in the Catskills is rated as exemplary and improving.
The water quality is extraordinary. It accounts for the incomparable taste of New York City pizza and New York City bagels. It's bottled and sold in other cities. It's used to test teas by some of the tea companies. And we've been able to do this to date without filtering it.
It's a really special thing, you know, that having New York City's watershed here is you know, it's one of the largest unfiltered water supplies, and the fact that it's here makes this land forever protected.
There are a lot of public water supplies throughout the country that are struggling with the concept of filtration. They look at the New York City water supply as probably the leading example of a successful voluntary approach that didn't require the construction of an $8 billion filtration plant that would cost $300 million a year to operate.
If you don't pollute the water to begin with, it's going to be way better coming out of the tap.
We can't ignore the fact that all these ecosystems are interconnected, and what you do in your backyard in upstate New York or southern New York State affects everything else.
We've been given a gift that requires us to exercise a very strenuous form of stewardship. We have to protect the Catskills so we can pass them on to future generations. So the Catskills I look upon as being a wonderful classroom in which we can instruct ourselves and learn how we should behave and discharge our responsibility as stewards for future generations.
There's just something, I would say, spiritual about the place, and it touches so many people. It's one of the things that gets under your skin, and once you've experienced it, you either have to stay or come back frequently.
I had that feeling, whatever that feeling is, that says, okay, this has a very, very deep memory for you. And maybe it's not a memory so much as remembering who you are and finding it in a place.
To me, spending time in the Catskill Park refreshes you. You get reborn. You love it. You feel good about it. You go back to the jobs that you do, and you know you've been someplace that's really important. And if you do the work that I do, you know you want to protect this kind of a place. It's very special.